Hello everyone, my name's Leshante and welcome back to 17 and 6 DIYs. Don't forget to subscribe. Today we are going to be making a DIY oven mitt in honor of Black History Month. It's a super simple design. You're going to use your own hand and a piece of paper to trace around your hand to do it. And I used a pencil, but you can use a pen or whatever. Just at that wrist, below the wrist area, just might want to add a little bit more space because I didn't add as much space as I should have here, and it is a bit tight on my forearm part. So I'm gonna add about an inch seam allowance, just because an oven mitt is supposed to be bigger than your hand. And for you guys, double check around the below the wrist area, you're gonna want to add a little bit more space originally, and then also add that 1 inch seam allowance, just because it's going to be a nice big fit. So anyway, so I chose to do an oven mitt for one of the Black History Month crafts because Black culture is definitely known for the food. Everybody loves soul food. Everybody loves fried chicken. Everybody loves beans, rice. That's kind of Creole. We have Creole roots in our family, but it's definitely soul food time, and celebrating Black History Month is a big deal so that you can embrace Black culture and just really get more comfortable with it. So that's why I chose to do that. You guys can follow along because it's super great. The fabric that I'm going to be doing it in, you guys are going to see in a few seconds. I chose it because it's black, and Black History Month. And you can use whatever color thread you like. I chose white because of the song by Nicole C. Mullen. She's a Christian artist. It's called Black Light. It's really great, and it's talking about how your light shines brighter in the darkness. So I thought it was really reflective of what's going on right now in the world. So here you can see my black fabric, my cotton lining, and then a blue fabric, which you can use to cover that. You don't have to. I didn't, but I just chose to use the black fabric and the cotton fabric. It's an 80-20 cotton that you can get for quilting. It's goes inside of quilts. I just use one layer because I've made other things with one layer for bowl cozies kind of thing. It wasn't a bowl cozy, but it definitely worked. So here is some what do they call this? Tailor's chalk. And you can definitely use Tailor's chalk, or you can use these sort of weights that you can get. They're gigantic washers, and you can get them at your home improvement store. I chose for the lining, which is this cotton. I think it's 80-20 cotton. I'm not for sure. I will possibly link that in the description. But I just brought it off Amazon. It's super great, and it really just keeps the warm away from you, and it's nice. So I cut it with my scissors, and you guys are going to see that in 1 second. Okay, so here I go. Just cutting around this with my fabric shears. If you don't have fabric shears, I would highly, highly, highly recommend you get some before you start this project or any sewing project, because regular scissors are just not going to cut it. You get it? But regular scissors are really mostly designed for paper, so they aren't sharp enough and they aren't heavy enough, and the blades are cut differently. If you ever notice, there's a sort of a square edge on a regular paper scissors, whereas for fabric scissors or fabric shears, there is a very narrow, pointy, triangular knife blade edge to them. Maybe one day I'll get into that, but you definitely want to use your fabric shears for any fabric product, and you want to use your regular paper scissors on any paper product, and you really don't want to mix those up because it will make the other dull. So if you use fabric shears on paper, it'll get dull. If you use paper shears on fabric, it will also get dull. So I just cut out 2 of these. I used this side and then I flipped it over just because continuity, you don't really want to cut two the same, because there, if you buy this kind of quilting material that goes inside the quilt, you'll sort of see very early on that there's two different sides to it. So I just wanted to stay nice and even with mine. So I'll cut this off the bottom. I gave myself a little bit of extra space. Again, don't forget to, following this design, cut a little bit extra space on the bottom sides. So this is where I used tailor's chalk, and on dark fabric it shows up really, really great. This is me showing you that that's the selvage edge, so that's what I used. And I used that as the right side and this as the wrong side. And the wrong side just means the side that's going to be inside. So then I used my shears again to cut it. And then I cut both of these, and they're kind of opposite each other. And on top of the, there it is, there's the fabric. So that's the inside of the fabric, which we call the wrong side in sewing. And then you're going to sew these together. It looks kind of goofy now. And then you'll sew this whole thing together, is what I meant. And then you'll fold these over and you'll be done. So I'm going to bring you into that process in a few seconds. So here we're going to take it into the sewing machine. And like I said, I used white fabric. I used a middle size stitch, not very short, not very long. This is a rather old machine, but I used, I think it was a 6 lines, but I'm not for sure which one it was. So the purpose of this is to, I think I just adjusted it to the 7. Yeah. So I moved the needle over as far as it can go to the left, and that is what I use. You can see there's a little bitty kink in the first line, but well, we get over that. Anyway, so that's me finding out, oh shoot, I made a kink in it. So anyway, so I go on and I just sew kind of anything I want to, because it's more about being creative in Black culture, and that's something that I really wanted to make sure that I brought across. Now, like I'm sewing here, I'm sewing straight down for my first line. You can continue that if you'd like, and then just keep sewing straight down and sort of pivot on that. And so here I ended up making kind of a pointy side. It's got a bunch of different points and straights to it. And then on the other side, I used a sort of curvy pattern that sort of looks more abstract. They both look abstract, but this one to me looks more abstract. So then you put the right sides, which is the side where the pattern is showing, the part that's going to touch the warmer objects. And then you're going to sew one about an inch on the edge. And you can see I did that here. So an inch on the edge of both of them to give it a fold up to make a hem. And then you'll sew around the entire glove, and cut off some excess threads, because you do not want your finger getting caught on threads when you're trying to grab something warm out of the oven. Okay, and we're going to take that to our sewing machine and finish it up. Okay, so I've sewn all the way around it here, and then I'm unfolding it, and it looks kind of cute. So I like it, except for my thumb. I got a little crazy on the thumb. You want to make sure you sew all the way around so you won't have this sort of crab claw that I got. I still think it's pretty cool, and I really like my abstract design. So I pray over my stuff when I make it. So I just want the Lord to bless it, and I thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great time DIYing your own oven mitt for Black History Month. God bless.